The Raptors lose another tough one, this time to the New York Knicks, 112-108. Live from Real Sports, this is Raptors Tonight. I'm Randy Irvin alongside Sherman Hamilton, Alvin Williams, and Eric Smith. All right, guys, lots to get to in this one. Sherman, I'll start with you. At times I felt the Raptors looked a little disorganized, and then at times I thought they were completely on the ball. What do you make of this inconsistency? What's causing this inconsistency of play?
Well, I don't know if they've been able to figure that out. It's not like it's a new thing. There are times in the game where you watch them play and you think, this is a very, very well-rounded, good team on both sides of the basketball. Then they'll have those defensive lapses where teams get into their paint all day, teams get anything at the rim. You know, it's just not working out. They struggle to defensive rebound. And offensively, it really surprises me how they go into those lulls, those funks offensively, where they just can't find a bucket because they have so many skilled offensive players. Nick Nurse hasn't forgotten how to call plays. He's still great at that. So it just kind of, it confuses me at times. But there's no doubt in a game like this, the New York Knicks tried to give the game away, especially down the stretch. They gave the Raptors multiple opportunities to get it done. And it's unfortunate they couldn't capitalize, but to answer your question, the lapses that they have are still confusing to me. And it's kind of one of those things where you look at it and you say, this is a good team, because when they put it together, they're tough to deal with.
Yeah. Alvin, what do you think to Sherm's points there? What are you seeing here that's causing this up and down game?
I'm like Sherm. It's hard to put a finger on it, and it's really hard to put a finger on it when you're not privy to inside information or the locker room or practices. Because a lot of times you can see things in the locker room, you can see the communication, you can hear the communication, or even in practice, you can see how things are going. I remember being on teams where we would look good, we would play well, and then we would get in certain situations, whether it's to start the second half or at the end of the game, depending on what the lineups, we would collapse, right? We would collapse. But we could look good whether Vince was playing and Vince was playing like a all-around perfect game and he would be out or something like that, and then the team would go down. Because it was an instance where the team was looking good when the starters were in there. And as soon as the substitutions start going, then the team went down. Knicks go back up 10 points. But a lot of times it comes down to sticking to the script, sticking to the game plan and executing the game plan and playing hard. A lot of times it comes down to just playing hard. And you look at sometimes, whether it's on the offense side or people sprinting to their spots. In transition, one thing that bothers me, not just with the Raptors and the NBA in general, the lack of people running the wings.
Right.
And you run for layups. So if you don't have the ball, so many guys just jog until they get into the play. I think that affects the offense sometimes, and then defensively, it carries over. Because a lot of times, whether you believe it or not, how you perform on offense, it affects the defense. Yeah. So I think a lot of those things happen, but when you're losing, you can pick at anything. It's never just one thing.
Yeah. Eric, I thought Julius Randle, obviously he got off crazy start there. I thought that set the tone for the Knicks.
I think it did, Randy. I mean, he hit the first 4 or 5 for them. And
19 quick points.
And it's not like they were all open either. He had hand in the face on
every
at least
time,
3 of them, if not every time. That did set the tone. I think that's got to be a little bit deflating, especially when you know you're coming back after that Milwaukee game where you know you've got to have a better effort and you've got to have more energy from the get-go. I think all of us would have said that. Every fan watching this would have said, you need to come out with better energy. You can't have another first quarter like they had, as terrible as that was on Wednesday night. And then you just get punched in the nose right off the jump. To me, I think my biggest issue for tonight, Al just hit on it. You're talking about going to the bench, back in your day, and the deflating aspect of when the second unit doesn't lift it. And I'm not going to point all of the blame. It's just the bench. It was pretty clear tonight. Fred comes off the floor, you go to the bench, Knicks go on that run in the second quarter. Raptors kind of scale themselves back up, try to make a run in the third quarter. Fred sits down to start the fourth, Knicks go on a run again. When you can't trust the second unit, whether it's the coach that can't trust it, whether it's the players themselves that aren't trusting or aren't getting enough, you can't roll out 40 minutes every night for the starters, but at the same time, you can't afford to go to your bench if you're not getting a lift.
Yeah.
So you're kind of rocking a hard place right now.
Yeah. Sherman, this is kind of the second straight game now that Siakam was more or less neutralized. didn't shoot the ball well from the field. What's happening there?
If you drop a 52 piece on me,
Yeah.
the next time I play you,
Yeah.
I'm coming at you very hard,
Right.
very aggressively, and really trying to make sure you don't get that same feeling that you got the last time.
Right.
So, look, the Knicks game plan for Pascal.
Yeah.
They did, and they took him out of a lot of things, and they did it early. And Pascal is going to have to find a way to respond in those situations. But credit the Knicks, they were preparing for Pascal and saying if we can cut the head off of their scoring machine, which is him, they should have a chance to win the game, and they did a good job of it. We talk about players evolving and getting better and taking that next step. Well, this is going to be another challenge for Pascal. He's had a great season to this point. When he's in situations like that where he knows teams are going to come at him like that, how does he take advantage of it? How does he make his team better? How does he help his team get a W? So it's a growth opportunity for Pascal, but you can't just say Pascal was in a bit of a funk.
Yeah.
The Knicks had a lot to do with that, with the way they played him.
Right.
And you know what else?
Heart.
Yeah. He has a heartbeat.
Yeah.
He's human.
Yeah.
Right? He has a pulse. Call him, he's human. He's going to have bad games or not those games. And
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
well, now you know where I'm at with
You
you.
were a little
You
physical.
didn't know where I was going.
You get real arty with that.
I'm still
If
kind
I
of in
bleed,
limbo about where
am
you're
I
going.
not human if you cut me?
Yeah, I mean,
you were hitting me earlier today, too.
Two fingers. That's how you
yeah,
back 'em
yeah,
up. You let somebody know what's going on.
Yeah, okay.
2 fingers. Back off, dog. But
What's happening here?
no, he was
Got me?
upset.
No.
He was upset. World Wide West interrupted our interview. So that's another
Oh,
story.
yeah,
for
I
another
was
day.
upset. You were
I
upset.
told you, back him down. But he's human. But one thing too, what a lot of people fail to realize, and I'm not taking a shot at anybody, the coaches or whatever, players still, no matter how good you are, players need to be put in situations where they can maximize themselves, right? You're not going to, Pascal, you're not just get the rebound and get through. Giannis, nobody's going to do that 82 games, right? So now, how do you get freed up? How do you evolve, to Sherman's point, how do you continue to grow? He has to learn how he can get in certain situations as well when he's at different times. Still had a double-double. I love the way he crashed the boards. I love the way he was still involved. So scoring, yes, he is the scorer, but scoring is just a part of what he can bring to the table. Still had a chance to win the game without him scoring. But guess what? If Julius Randle doesn't go crazy in the first quarter, that might be an aspect of the game that could impact the whole thing.
Right.
So,
You know, Rand, I'm sure you were going to bring it up as well too. I think.
are you sure?
I think so. I'm pretty confident in my guy Randy. I can't reach that far to poke him, but I'm pretty confident he was going to bring it up. Scotty Barnes, as you said, Al, not to single out one guy, but it's obvious, I think, to all of us. He had 1 point going into the fourth quarter tonight. He was scoreless through 3 quarters against Milwaukee. That's 0 field goals in 6 of the last 7 quarters. When you think about it, took him to the fourth quarter last night, and then the first 3 quarters tonight, nothing. That can't happen. I mean, 0 field goals through 6 out of 7 quarters. So, in spite of all that, you're still in a position to win the ball game.
Yeah.
And Nick Nurse was asked about it before the game. Like, he was asked point blank about Scotty. Do you show him that fourth quarter against Milwaukee and say, not even say anything, really, just go,
Yeah.
this is what you need to do. And Nick kind of, sort of half laughed and said, pretty much like, yeah, that's what he needs to be.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and has 1 point through 3 quarters again. You need more from him. You need more from, it's not just Pascal, and there's a lot of people that are kind of cut up that pie and take a slice of the blame pie right now.
When you're young, like Scotty is, you don't know what you are yet. So when you talk about development, you talk about investing in players, that piece has to be never ending. Film watching, in the gym, conversation, communicate, like all of those things, whether from a teammate or a coaching staff, like you need to be like that in the fourth quarter. That's not gonna cut it.
Right.
This is what, let's break down this film. This is your opportunity. Now let's go into the gym and let's see how you work on that. Like, that's that. Scotty Barnes, he deserves that. He has to put the work in, he has to take the initiative, but the unfortunate part is young players sometimes don't say, Coach, can we do this? It's only a few young players who are gonna say, Coach, can we do this because I wanna get better at this? So it's one of those things. So he's so young, He doesn't know who he is.
Right.
Game to game, everything is a learning experience for him.
Right.
Unless that aspect is there where somebody's taking him all the time. Like I said, we're not privy to that information, but that's a big part of the young development.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Jalen Brunson because he's having a great season. Man, Sherm, what makes him so tough? He's not big. He's not super athletic.
Super skilled.
Yeah.
Very cerebral about the game. He's one of those guards who is so efficient with his movement. He's efficient with his ball handling.
Great point.
He gets to his spots with the least amount of time.
Right.
And he kind of has to because of his size, and he's done it his whole life probably. But he's so specific and meticulous about how he attacks. And he has the ball in the string. He's got that A to B quickness. He might not have that A to G quickness, but from A to B, he can get there, and he has the ball there, and he can shoot the ball, he can pass the ball, and we all know this. That southpaw action, when you know how to play and you're a lefty, it can, no matter how long you played basketball, defending that
Randy
lefty,
bobbing his head over.
well, you have to have skill, though. But I just think that he's got such a good feel for the game.
Yeah.
And
What's he making, $100 million over 4?
and a lot of it
Like a
had to
bargain.
do.
Hey, Sherman, you also said it earlier. You said earlier about Pascal, 52 against the Knicks a couple weeks ago. Jalen Brunson had a season low 7.
Yeah.
So you knew he was coming back to use that similar
And
analogy.
he just came off of a 38 point win,
yeah.
point game, so he was ready to go. The other thing is, you see a lot of Fred and Jalen Brunson similarities. Brunson is a different player, don't get me wrong, but the size and the ability to get to your spot and really create misdirection plays and get defenders that are bigger than you off of you to create space, it's a very cerebral approach, and Jalen Brunson is very, very good at that.
Let me tell you about Jalen real quick. Just knowing his pop, Rick. His pop used to bring him to the gym. He's like 5 years old. He loved Allen Houston. He used to wear the Allen Houston jersey. Jab step like Allen. So he watched the
jump
game
shot in the league.
at a young age. To Sherman's point, cerebral. Work ethic is unmatched. His work ethic at a young age is unmatched. I watched him at Villanova. They would have a 2-hour practice. He would come back to the gym at night, work out with his pop, and work on all game situations. His dad would have him at a young age doing pick and roll. His dad would tell him how to read defenses, not just working out on his handle and all his skill stuff, how to read. You come off this pick and roll, this person might help, that's going to be open.
That's how his dad played.
Just played. And his pop was the same way, just not as talented.
And wasn't as athletic with quickness, but he could think his way through situations.
Exactly. And the work ethic.
Yeah.
His dad was somebody who had to be, every year he had to make a team.
Right.
So no summers were off.
Right.
Emotionally he had to be stable, work ethic, everything had to be there, right? So he had to watch his diet. He had to do all these things. Every year he had to make a team. That work ethic is in Jalen Brunson, man. And it's great to watch. And I might add,
You should.
he graduated from Villanova.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Heard that a few
In 3
times
years.
in the
You might have mentioned that.
In 3 years.
A few times in the
How long did it take you?
3 years. How long did it take you? Oh, you didn't go to Villanova.
What's wrong with this guy today?
That was scary.
Yeah.
Took me 4.
That's better than me, man. Better than me. And you were slightly better at basketball.
Slightly.
The problem tonight, Eric, wasn't the backcourt because Gary Trent Jr. almost did it again.
Yeah.
And Fred was great.
Freddie was solid. I'll tell you what I think the problem was. It touches on what we brought up earlier. I mean, listen, give Fred his due. We touched on the importance of him being on the floor. The minute he came off the floor in both quarters, things went to nosedive. I think it plays into the second unit or lack thereof, at least in this game, and too much of late. You can kind of tend to expect what you're going to get from your stars. You knew that probably Brunson's going to play well. Randall's going to play well. They're going to get theirs. Quickly, McBride, Grimes, especially Grimes and McBride from distance. They were major difference makers, especially during those runs from the perimeter, knocking down shots. Where was one of those guys tonight for the Raptors, let alone 3 of them? That to me was the ultimate difference, was getting from the the next level, from the next guys down the ladder.
Yeah.
That was where the game, I believe, was ultimately lost.
We got a question.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
The hard part, you think about put yourself in the shoes of a coach, like Nick Nurse, and you're coming close to these games and you're trying to figure out. Are you trying to figure out what's going to work and what's not?
Yeah.
Close, and you're in the streak, and then you're trying to keep your team morale up.
Yeah.
I just think about him, and I think about like, all right, guys, I can imagine that coaching staff like, all right, how are we going to approach today's practice? Like that's something too. Like,
Yeah.
so that's a layer that people don't even think about. Like, how do you even start to improve before you get into the emotional and the psychological aspect?
And then you and I talked about this before the game too. How do you stay connected? Have you ever been in a situation where the losing just, seems to keep piling up? How do you stay connected as a group when that's happening?
Yeah.
Because human nature
It's
is
tough, man.
not great in those situations.
It's tough.
That's where the individual characters have to come through.
Yeah.
The character of the human being in that locker stall beside you. We've all been in losing situations, so we know how it can really fracture the camaraderie of a team. But I mean, if you're playing professionally, you understand it's a job. Like the emotional side of it has to be secondary. You got to go out there and you got to play and do your job. And you got to trust that the guy beside you is going to do his job as well. So human nature can kick in, but you really hope, and especially with the character of these guys, they don't stop playing hard. So even though the losing is it's bothering them,
Yeah.
they're still out there and they're working. So I don't ever question the character of these guys in this locker room.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads me to this YouTube question from Seer Khan, who's watching live on YouTube. There's so much talk about tanking to get better draft picks. A lot of teams doing that, Victor Wembanyama. What do you think about the heart of this team of never getting up and fighting till the end? Because it seemed like a little bit, Eric, it was going to be a carbon copy of the Milwaukee game.
Yeah,
They were one stop away.
I think Sherm just said it well. I mean, the character that they have to continue to battle. It's not like they're throwing up their hands and going, all right, whatever, we're down by 12 and you lose by 22. They're battling right through to the end. That to me says that they still have each other's back. That to me says that they still have character, that they still have heart. That to me says that they're still playing for their coach. For anybody that's saying that, oh, Knicks lost the locker room or they don't believe, like, no, they're still playing hard out there. It's the intangibles of the small little stretches during the game that ultimately. So I'm not a big proponent of the tank. I'm never going to pump that. I'm never going to back that. And I think that, I mean, Al could speak to it maybe better. As a professional, when you're out there, I got to imagine you're fighting to the end. You're fighting. You're not looking over your shoulder going, yeah, like if you're Fred VanVleet or Pascal
You don't want to be
Siakam,
embarrassed.
and you're also not saying like, yeah, you know what, let's lose as many of the next 40 as we can because that kid, he's going to save our season, save my career, we'll be better next year. No, you're going out there and playing your backside off the rest of the season because you want to make the playoffs. You want to prove something to yourself or to your family, to your friends, to the fan base, whatever it is. You're not looking and going and saying, oh yeah, I want a draft pick. You're not thinking like that, right?
No, not at all. All right, good stuff today, guys. Let's switch gears a little bit because I want to get to the bottom of something. Nicknames, pretty popular in the NBA. Eric, you've got one. What is it?
E, just
I
E.
don't
It's
know
pretty
where that
basic.
comes from. Yeah. Yours was
Al.
Boogie.
Al, Boogie.
Al.
Where did Boogie come from? No, put that in.
Antonio Lang
Oh yeah.
gave me that name. Back in the day, Boogie was always, it was like a common name. Probably. They would just say, maybe S Boogie. What's your name?
Sure.
S Boogie. What's your name? Randy. R Boogie. E Boogie. E Boogie sounds better. Like that, but it was like that. So it was A Boogie would do that, but it was me.
That was
my
a
man,
thing.
Antonio
R Boogie,
Lang.
like A Boogie.
They wouldn't say R Boogie.
They wouldn't say R.
They wouldn't say that.
But they say S
They
Boogie.
wouldn't probably say S Boogie.
Pretty much.
I
I definitely
said
say
E
S
Boogie,
Boogie.
but that's the came from Antonio Lang.
I know where this
Okay.
is going, Christian.
What? You had a nickname.
I don't have a nickname.
You have a nickname. Why don't you just tell the people here on
don't have
national
a nickname.
television what your nickname was? They
Sherm.
wanna-
My nickname is Sherm. Everybody shortens my name to Sherm.
I'm not. Hey, if he doesn't want to bring it up,
You
I'm
gotta
not
know
saying
inside.
that.
I want to know.
Somebody wrote it down. Fly Guy?
What about that?
Was that?
My God.
What?
What about that?
You were called Fly Guy?
You explain the origins
Yeah,
of
explain
that?
the
I don't
origins
know
of
what that-
Fly
I
Guy.
don't know
Great
what you're
question.
talking about. Because I used to wear high heel shoes with fishing them, like Fly Guy from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Superfly.
What? No, that can't be it.
It's how you
That can't-
dress.
I'm not buying
bro.
that.
It's how you dress or you skying in the air.
Yeah. It's because you skied in the air. Because I played basketball with you one time in a charity game, and you almost dunked it.
Oh, whatever. Like you,
You
I was like
Yeah,
70
hops, huh?
years old.
No, you had hops.
I was
You
70
could
years
jump,
old,
right?
man.
What was your vertical? Tell everybody.
I don't remember.
No, come on, man.
I don't remember what it was.
Hold on a second. What's your nickname?
I don't know. I don't have one.
Because I want somebody in the graphics
think-
department to get rid of
Macho Man.
Raptors tonight. Just put up
Macho
the
Man?
Rand,
Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Rand.
Rand.
Herbs.
Call you
Randy
Herbs.
Urban
Chris
Good Time
says
Hour.
ball hog.
Oh, he just said hog.
Producer
No, he just
brother
says hog. He didn't say ball
Well,
hog.
that's been ball hog.
No, hog.
Hog.
Not ball hog.
With two G's.
Yeah. No, I don't know. People just call me whatever. What's up,
Man, you know
Call
what?
you whatever.
What did you respond to?
You don't want to leave that open
What
like
did you
that.
respond to?
Herbs. People call me
Herbs,
herbs.
yeah.
Herbs?
Yeah.
I call him
What
Herbs.
was yours? E?
Just E. Just E. I hated Smitty. I always hated Smitty. He's too easy.
They didn't ask what you hate. What did they
No,
call you?
honestly, more E than anything. More E.
What's the other one? Smitty?
No, actually, I used to get Rico.
See, come on, man. That was coming out.
Suave?
Rico.
I just got Rico. I got Rico. People called me Rick back in high school instead of Eric, and then it
Okay.
turned into
Did you
Rico.
look like a
Hey,
Rick?
we're going back to high school
No,
now.
come on.
I don't know. I'm asking.
People call me Mr. Boombastic.
Oh my
They call
God.
you Grayson Allen.
Oh,
Hey, maybe at the end of the games, maybe I am. Sure.
Doing what? Hitting people in their privates? I mean,
It's called making buckets.
Yeah, all right.
Very possible.
You were a great player. So your nickname Fly Guy must mean that you could fly, jump.
Look at him reminiscing.
Say yes,
Yeah.
say
I
yes.
was watching the game actually. What'd you say?
Forget it, man. Did you like,
like
your
that.
nickname?
Al?
Yeah.
I mean, I got it from my dad. So, yeah.
Boogie?
I think he
You
was
like
talking Boogie.
I mean, the only people who called me Boogie was the team. Like, no one, that
Right.
came from the
Oh,
team.
okay.
Like, they
Just
never,
Al, right?
It was Al.
Yeah.
Boring as hell.
I like that. I call you Al. We're buds. Randy. That's my name.
we're buddies.
Randy's my name.
That was
Brand.
Let's
Randall.
stop it there. All right, thanks for doing this, guys. Next game for the Raptors, Sunday afternoon.
You
against
guys
Portland
show,
Trail.
the sneaks in the background. My man got the Chuck Taylors
Yeah,
and
he's
the
got
pink
pink
Chuck
Chucks,
Taylor.
yeah.
Looking real good. I like that.
It's a Christian rocking them pink ones, huh?
Chris Rock, I
His
see.
nickname is Sea Dog.
C-Dog.
Sea-Dog.
Yeah. Sunday afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern is the tip. And don't forget, we'll be streaming live here at Real Sports. Come by the show. We'll take your comments and your questions. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.